Welcome back, everybody, and this is the I've even it's been so long since we've done one of these that I've even forgotten what it's called.
Yeah, I guess it's not like riding a bike, huh?
No, not quite.
Off the pitch, baby.
Off the pitch, baby. This is well off the pitch as well. This is not even like, remotely close to the pitch.
No.
It's been a good few months since we finished.
Yeah. So I guess 3 months. How are you feeling?
Yeah.
We're almost 100,000 streams on the album.
Yeah.
It's out now. People have heard it. I feel like it's been sitting out there for enough time for people to really have soaked it up and digested it and spat it back out and said that's disgusting and asked for a refund. So where are we kind of sitting? How you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I mean, honestly, I've been enjoying just like moving on with life as well.
Yeah.
But no, I'm pretty stoked with how it's all come together and how it's been performing and all of that. I'm happy that we did it and all of that.
Yeah.
That we it's got to be one of the first times that I set a goal and completed it and did what we had set out to do.
Yeah.
But it was definitely the biggest, most difficult goal that I'd set out to work on and complete.
Yeah.
But yeah. How about you though?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. I agree. Having it out there as a completed project, that feeling of hey, we said we were gonna do it, and then we did it, and it's out, and being able to look back and being it's already kind of that feeling of oh yeah, that's something that I did a while ago. I am very, very envious that because you've put out 2 singles since the album released, and they were both ones that you did the majority of the work on last year while we were doing the pitch in the album, which I'm very envious of, because I almost feel we put out the album and then almost, I had a nice wee break in January, but almost immediately it was had to get that engine back up and running, you know what I mean? If I want anything to come out soon, I almost have to, get right back into it. So I am.
Yeah.
I'm jealous that you had some stuff in the archive that you could pull out.
Yeah, well, I've emptied that tank out now, and so now it's back on the grind for me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I mean, the thing is that I had that stuff. We did the making a song every week, and then it ramped up a ton at the end when we were okay, now we're making an album as well as the song every week.
Yeah.
And so it went from so much stuff happening to nothing. So it's still it still felt like a bit of a break for me, which was nice. But no, I've been working on some stuff, but nothing too, nothing's really something that I've encountered since finishing is that I've almost lost faith in my voice again.
Really?
Yeah. So I've done it and I put the album out, and now I'm oh man, I can't sing.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think it's just after having taken a break from singing for the past 2-3 months that now I'm just kind of having to get back into the swing of it. But it's happening. It's slowly grinding away. I have a few beats that I'm working on. Also, actually, side note as well from talking about the music stuff, we should address why we're on 2 separate screens right now.
True. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the last 2 weeks now for me, 2-3 weeks, my partner C and I, we moved up to Auckland So throughout the pitch and everything, we were all living in Christchurch, eh?
Yeah.
And so it was quite easy. But yeah, moving up to Auckland has been a goal of mine for the past 4 or 5 years. And earlier I was tied into a relationship that meant that I couldn't really move. And then that ended, and then I was tied into the pitch, which also meant that I couldn't really move. And also I had no form of income or money, so that just wasn't even a viable option. And then the pitch ended, and we were like, we both kind of want to move. And it just it was suddenly available and doable, and so we just went for it. And and now I'm up here. I'm doing shit in Auckland and the big cheese.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I think people have probably asked, the second most or third most asked question since the album came out, just running into people is like, oh, are you and Alex gonna work on do more music together, like the pitch, like content for the internet? And at first I was like, oh yeah, maybe, but I had to think about it because I want to give people a genuine answer. And I was like, yeah, probably most definitely. But the content for the internet was all that we currently had together as a shared experience up to that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
absolutely.
Our memories of childhood, the longing to go back there, our friendship, our mutual breakups. So all of it was kind of packed in that album. And so thinking about it from that way, it's if we were to create another album or even just music together, there's almost this feeling of both of us have to go out and live life a little bit more before there's anything that we can come back and really have an emotionally I'm sure we could do a song about how sick drugs are or whatever, but there's nothing you know what I mean, we haven't had that next stage in life where we have that thing to bond over to create a piece of art about, you know what I mean?
No, totally, I agree with that. I think it's we've exhausted the tanks of what we genuinely felt, and anything that we make now is just going to be kind of meaningless bullshit. Which there is a lot of meaningless bullshit in the music, in pop music at the moment. But it just doesn't feel like something that we are the kind of people to really write.
No,
we're both a little bit more. I'm not being oh my god, we're way better than pop music at the moment. But there's just something about the art of creating music and the ideas that we want to write about. We don't just want to write about, oh, I have money and drugs are really sick. We want to write about things that are meaningful to us, and we want to not push a view on the world, but present the world with a view, with a unique viewpoint.
Any kind of because I can almost see the counter of that of some of the songs that we put out in the pitch, but I feel in a lot of ways we were able to justify that because
we were making a song every week.
The project itself had artistic merit as opposed to the particular song itself necessarily needing to justify a message.
Absolutely. Something that I find funny as well, I've had a few people Snapchat me and they'll be humming this is just a filler track. And it's one of the more catchy songs that got stuck in people's heads was this is a filler track.
The
thing with that stuff is that we were writing a song every week. We're just burning through the first idea that popped into our heads, essentially. Whereas now we have more time to kind of craft the pieces, but more like what we had with the album, but even less of a time constraint because we still had a time constraint with the album. So it's an interesting place to be after a whole year of strict time schedules.
Yeah. No, for real. I tell you, January was kind of hard because, it almost felt like, and I know this is quite like a common experience, which is why I feel like I don't have to articulate it super well for people to understand. But when you have kind of something in your life that's giving you kind of meaning and purpose and something to do, and then you finish it, there's I felt like almost like this feeling of like twiddling my thumbs, you know what I mean? Like it always felt like, oh, there's something I have to do right now, but there wasn't, you know what I mean? And that led to kind of like an emptiness.
Yeah, there was 100%, like, for me, it lasted pretty much all of January where I'd, like, wake up in the morning and be like, oh, God, like, anxiety-ridden almost, like, it's Thursday and, oh, no, there isn't a song that I need to write this week. No, it was, I think that was... Yeah, and then we went into, like, February and I started kind of relaxing a bit more, and then... about like early February was when C and I had like kind of cemented that we were going to move up to Auckland, and it was that kind of like reinvigorated the like things need to happen vibe inside of me, and things did happen very quickly. I feel like most people who say, we're going to move like cities or like move to the North Island or whatever, they'll be like, okay, where the goal is to move in like 6 months or so, whereas C and I were like, we're moving next month. And it didn't quite happen like until March or so, but like in our minds we had the goal set that we were going to be moving pretty much as soon as possible, and honestly it's worked out pretty good. We had a little bit of kerfuffle with finding a house. That was probably the hardest part, to be honest. Finding work in the creative industry up here for me has been so ridiculously easy. It's like I've started doing like sound tech and setting up for events and so forth, which it's humbling work because, you know, I personally really want to be the one up on stage doing stuff.
But, it's hard to set up for someone else's show when you want to be the center of attention.
Exactly. But it's fun. I enjoy doing it still because it's like I'm getting to work with gear that, you know, is so expensive that I could almost never obtain it myself without like having a business that does that kind of thing, or like just hiring it. But so I get to work with, you know, some pretty cool gear. And then, you know, it started off not this past weekend but the weekend before, which was the first week that we'd kind of gotten up here. And then from that, you know, I'll do one job and then 3 more jobs will pop up from other people who know other people and other businesses, and so then I'll go do some contract work with them. Like this past weekend, I ended up doing like 5 jobs across the 2 days, and it was great. It was heaps of fun. It's like short, because I'm just going in, setting up, and then leaving, and then I'll come back and like pack it all up and then leave again. So I get like my day free. Probably the biggest downside to it is I'll have to get up at like 5 a.m. just so that I can drive across town to go set up for an event. But you know, I'll be back home by like 9 a.m. and then have until like 5 p.m. before I have to go back and pack it up. So
you've always kind of been like a morning person as well.
Yeah, I mean, like, before we started the pitch, I was definitely, like, I'd started going through this phase in my life where my body just wanted to wake up at, like, 8 a.m. And no matter how late I went to bed, regardless of, like, pretty much anything, I'd just wake up. My brain would just wake me up at 8, and then I'd just get started. So, yeah, no, I feel like, and honestly, I enjoy watching the sunrise more than the sunset as well. So there's something about the sunrise that feels more special.
Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So it's like I'm stoked that we've made the move up here. To be honest, it's worked out really well. Yeah.
Yeah,
But nah.
can you believe this guy lives with a business owner for like a year? Same city, no problem. The moment he moves city, starts a business.
Yeah, that as well. I mean, C and I we talked a little bit before we left, and kind of, I've wanted to do like teaching. I've wanted to pass on the knowledge and the information that I have about creativity and the creative industry, which is part of the reason that I've been really into doing these podcasts and things, so that I can, throw down little nuggets of advice or whatever here and there. And so C and I had talked about that a little bit, and then we get up here and we're like, you know what? Now that we're here, why don't we just start a little school and like do some teaching stuff? So we put together the Muse School of Arts, and we're still not really in the planning stage, but in the like making it happen stage of it all. So we've kind of like done a pre-launch thing, and I've written up a couple of like class curriculums and so forth. But yeah, we're the last step that I think we really are working on at the moment is trying to get it out there so that people know that it's happening, and we get some people sign up to take part in the class.
And
it's
if people
all
wanted
online
to,
based.
where would they go?
That go to Muse School of Arts. Wait, hang on. museartschool.com. Muse, M-U-S-E, artschool.com. And that is where you'd go to sign up. Or you could just search, look at Muse School of Arts on Instagram as well, because we've got that running. I think we also have a Twitter. And yeah, we have a Twitter and a YouTube channel. So yeah, the idea is we're going to try and make some educational type content, and so there'll be little nuggets out there for free, and then run like classes for pretty much all ages. So like whether you're you yourself are wanting to get into creative stuff, whether it's visual arts or writing or music, or if like a child who's interested in painting some pictures but doesn't quite know the skills that they need to be able to improve on it. That's what we're there for, baby. Yeah.
Damn.
But
damn. Exciting.
How has everything been going for you, my man, Lucas?
Yeah, I mean, oh god, nothing as exciting as the Muse School, but yeah, same kind of vibe. Just a little bit later on, you're just a little bit later on in the timeline. Obviously, we're moving out of this beautiful house that we made the pitch and content for the internet in, saying goodbye after almost 3 years in here, which is it's bittersweet. But
bittersweet for sure, yeah.
I think as your
and it's just after they got the new oven in there as well, eh?
Yeah, we finally got some upgrades and saying goodbye, yeah. But
I'm sure it's an upgrade though, eh?
Wow, yeah.
You sound a little unsure.
There's
about
always
that.
problems. There's always problems. That's why we're gonna say goodbye. But as you're experiencing, I feel like every time there's a change in environment, it's always such a good opportunity if you hold yourself accountable to start new habits, start new businesses, stuff like that. That's why people love New Year's resolutions so much, because there's almost like this staple. It's like, from this date I'm going to do this, and for the people who can like hold themselves accountable, it works out great. And so I've really been feeling a lot of that, like kind of the anticipation of like once all of our stuff isn't packed in such like a close space, and we actually have like room to move and breathe and build the business and set up a studio space and stuff like that, like what new habits am I going to develop, what new businesses, what new ideas, how am I going to set up everything so that it works out great. So that's probably what I'm most excited for. But yeah, in the meantime, before the move, just been working on some new music, kind of chipping away. Just making bullshit. I'm always making bullshit, so it's no different from
cruising
before.
in the new boat as well.
Cruising in the new boat, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, we're picking up some pieces.
Very nice. No, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I guess. How do you feel about? Are you surprised at all by any of the reactions to the album, or any of the tracks which became standout tracks that you weren't expecting? If I quickly look at the analytics here, the top songs, the best received ones so far from the album have been Just a Stranger, Fan Behavior, Tweaking Plans, Can You Do It, New You, Old Me, and then Moving On is currently sitting at number one.
Damn. Moving On. Yeah, Moving On's a good one. I think... Yeah, no, I was surprised by Moving On jumping up to number one, to be honest. I was not expecting that. And I'm not sure why, because I do quite like the song itself, but I thought that I thought that based off of, I guess maybe from the when we used the beat and the pitch, the reception that we got from it was not like fantastic. It wasn't like a standout track.
Yeah.
In terms of people's reactions, but it's quite a nice idea, and then also like in terms of lyrically what we're talking about, I quite like the idea of moving on as a song. And also the flow of like the way that the instrumental and our vocals work with it all. It just so it makes sense, but it still surprised me. Tweaking Plans is just a straight banger, so I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised by Tweaking Plans either. You're right.
Honestly, no. If I'm being real, probably there was this one person that I talked to, and what they said to me about the album is like the only piece. And this is such like a classic artist thing. You take one person's perception of the album, and you're like, yeah, okay. Sure. He was like, oh yeah, it was mediocre at best. I was like,
did someone say that to your face?
Yeah, he was like, oh, I listened to the album and it was mediocre at best, and I was like, oh shit, okay. Yeah, that's humbling. I appreciate it. I appreciate that you listened to it at least. Yeah. No, so but yeah, I don't think that's like swayed how I feel about the album so much. It's still something that I put that we put a fuckload of work into, and so people have their opinions. All I think that it's done is made me think, okay, what can I do better on the next one?
Yeah, I mean, that's always. It's always the moment the album comes out, you're like, oh goddamn, I should have done this, or I should have done this, or this should be called this. That's part of the game.
Exactly. That's just how it is to be a creative. There's always something that you could do better. Yeah. But it's the art of finishing something is knowing when, the goal isn't necessarily unobtainable, but you're thinking too deep into it.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a game. It's like you can always keep, implementing something or doing something a little bit better on one project, but then you're never going to have anything out there for people to listen to, or for you to be like, oh yeah, I'm an artist, I've made this thing. You're just going to have like one forever project that keeps on going.
If you're making things and not putting them out, then you're not an artist, you're a practicer, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then after a while of working on things, you start to realize, for me personally at least, I've realized that, at a certain point, the next song is the one to improve on.
Yeah.
Not the one that you're currently working on.
100%.
So I think, with the album, I'm happy with how it's turned out. I love it because it is what it is.
Yeah.
But there's always something that you can do better, and how can we implement that into our next albums,
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, it's more. I view it more as kind of like a staple in that point of time, as opposed to something. You know what I mean? And then so if anyone says, "Oh, I didn't like the album," or as it sounds like people are saying to you, "Oh, it's mediocre."
Only one person as well. Most other people are like, "Oh, it's fantastic. I love it.
Right.
I listen to
but
it
this
like
one just
all the
kind of
time."
stuck
But
with
this,
you.
yeah, I mean, it's always the negative ones that stick with you, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the attitude is like, well, maybe you'll like the you didn't like this staple in time, so maybe you'll like the staple in time that's 2 years from now, me, or something.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Damn.
Content for the internet. I can't believe
content for the internet.
And this will probably, this will probably be the what happens with the podcast, but it won't be the Off the Pitch podcast anymore. This is the last episode because we will not be doing the pitch anymore.
No. So
this is if anything, this is a bonus one because it's like a little bit of a retrospective.
Yeah, absolutely. I was almost surprised when you were like, "Hey, let's do one last podcast episode." I was like, I was expecting it, but I was also like, at the point where I'd like put it so far out of my mind that I was like, "Oh yeah, that's not happening anymore."
Well, I just felt like it was important for us to do this to close the book and say, the album's out. It's had enough time. People have heard it. Thank you to everyone who listened in the first few months of it being out, everyone who came to the listening party, everyone who saved it and is still listening to the songs now, the playlisters, any of the publications that posted links to us or put out stuff about us, or our friends putting us on there, just everyone who supported the album or the pitch over the course of the year, because everyone who supported the pitch ended up bringing in more people who supported the album, and everyone, so I think it was important that we put this out. The album's out, and so big thank you to you for making this album with me, for doing weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of work, but more importantly
52 to be precise.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. But
that's a lot of weeks.
A massive thank you to everyone as well who's supported the project.
Absolutely, thank you all so much. We probably would have done it without you, but but without you, it wouldn't have become what it became, which is, that's the beautiful thing about it. No, 100%.
So we'll see you guys next year for Content for the Internet 2, the squeakening.
The squeakening. Oh no, the squeakquel.
We will, obviously off podcast, but, there are some... We've talked about ideas on and off the podcast about what potentially we want to do with some of the pitch songs, some of the pitch beats, etc., once kind of the pitch project is taken down, and just the album remains. So there might be kind of an epilogue to the epilogue if anything else comes out. But I don't know. Do you have any last things to say on the pitch project, on Content for the Internet, on the weird journey that was 2022?
That's a really good one. That's a really good question. I'm looking out of the window at the moment. This is a very side note to everything. I'm just looking out of the window in my studio right now, and I'm like, I've gone from, waking up in the mid to late afternoon and working on music like all day pretty much, and putting out a song every day with you, to the people that we're living with now are blowing up a bouncy castle outside for the kids to play on. And it's just like such a juxtaposition.
Yeah, from sleeping on the couch to this, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. What a fucking wild ride. And through listening to the podcast episodes in order and listening to the songs and everything, you'll hear and see that story play out essentially from now, which is kind of I thought about this earlier today, and I was like, this whole story, like up until like halfway through the pitch, C wasn't even like a character in my life, and then throughout the pitch and the album releasing and everything, you can kind of like almost watch especially in the podcasts, you know, you can watch that relationship progress to where we are now, where we're now starting a business together, and we're teaching school kids art stuff. I don't know, it's crazy. Go back and watch everything, because now it's all there. It's a completed project, and it's not going to be all there for much longer. Damn. All right. Well, that was that was my closing note. Did you have anything else to say there, Lucas? Or shall I conclude this?
Yeah, I mean, follow Floot, Spotify, all your streaming platforms.
Follow Lucas on Spotify and everything as well.
And yeah, excited for the future. Excited for future projects, and excited to continue to see this album grow and hopefully be a staple in the legacy that both of us built.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm bloody excited for the future, mate. Sheesh. All right. Well, this has been the Off the Pitch podcast. So far off the pitch that it's been a few months since the last one, but we're here. And this is it. This is the final goodbye. Thanks for being a part of this journey. We love you. We appreciate every single one of you. Fuck yeah. Stoked.
Strong finish.
Strong finish, baby.
Bye, guys.
All right, thank you.